Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue exploring 3D Capital, an undervalued asset manager with holdings in AI, blockchain, biotech, junior resources, and so much more, to discuss some of the holdings that are absolutely exploding right now, what the company plans on doing forward, and obviously the acquisition of more shares in some more portfolio companies. Obviously, we have the CEO, Sheldon, joining us. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Kyle. Good to be here on the final week of August of summer.
Always a pleasure to get you on, especially kind of getting a look into the latter half of the year. But I want to kind of look back because this month for one of your portfolio companies has been absolutely unreal. QIMCA, clean pure play hydrogen company focused in Quebec. I mean, it's up 600%. It's very impressive at some of your portfolio companies. But what do you do when the stock goes up this much? What does it mean for 3D Capital, and how do you kind of look at it moving forward?
So, the 3D, ever since the last results came out, sort of modeled this. It's basically a risk return play. When we originally got involved, it was a silica company. We weren't really that keen on silica, but the hydrogen assets they had, we didn't know about them. We went down the rabbit hole, looked at all the technical data, and go, you know what? There's a shot here that this could be a hydrogen bearing system. And everyone is looking for this now in the world, and not everyone, but it's evolving. Total Petroleum out of France, their biggest oil and gas company, Australia, Gold Hydrogen, the Gates Foundation, so forth. So we looked at the technical work, and these are scientists. These are not laymen talking about what this potential is. And the government of Quebec in Canada is extremely pro-green and pro-production of energy sources that leave a zero CO2 footprint. And hydrogen, certainly natural hydrogen, meets those criteria. So as this evolves, we are actually getting more and more positive that it's leading in the right direction. So we're also been approached by all kinds of people and companies who are extremely sophisticated in the space and go, you know what, a lot of your readings, a lot of your data, this is really interesting. We got included in a hydrogen index of 10 companies. So we met that bar criteria, third-party confirmation. So, we're very happy about that. So we're getting the recognition. We're looking at now for the companies going to go to these hydrogen conferences. We're going to learn more about it. We spent years looking at hydrogen from a technology standpoint on creation through synthesis and all kinds of different methods. Were extremely CapEx heavy. They were extremely intellectual property complex. And yet here you have in a natural environment the ability to find natural hydrogen. And when you do find natural hydrogen, it actually doesn't deplete. As you take it out, it refills its tank, if you will, through the process that goes on in making hydrogen. So on a risk return basis, we think it's really very still early days.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's definitely an intriguing sector that I think is finally getting recognition. And I wouldn't mind just kind of pivoting a little bit because you announced the completion of security purchase with Serial Diagnostic Corp. Do you want to talk about what that sector holds for you and what this company means?
Yes. So I think it's just our second one we've done. The company is investing basically in the Internet of AI platform, a company called Hypercycle, and it's acquired nodes, it's acquired tokens. That whole ecosystem is expected to launch in the final quarter of this year. But the second area that they're involved in, and also 3D is the area of quantum computing. And there's a company called Dynex that we are extremely high on that actually is able to do quantum computing in a software mode without using hardware and all the limitations of hardware and the cost of hardware. So this, we believe, is a major breakthrough. And Serial is basically going deeper in its investment in Dynex, and we're supporting that.
Yeah, and I will pass that off to the viewers that I'm going to leave the links to Sheldon and 3D Capital's YouTube channel in the description below, where you can actually watch a lot of the interviews with the CEOs and the founders that are running these companies. And it just leads into the question here. There's a lot going on. These conversations could go in many directions, but what are you guys focused on? Are you looking to do more acquisitions the latter half of the year? Are you just kind of helping your portfolio companies move forward? What should investors pay attention to?
Well, everything's going on at the same time, so there is no limit to this conversation. But I'd like to do highlights as opposed to giving 100 updates on 100 different things. That doesn't work. There are many things that are bubbling to the surface. Another one of the companies that we are an insider of, that we've been investing, that we're extremely high on, is a company called Peak FinTech. Or actually, its name is called now, it renamed Tenet, T-E-N-E-T. Their stock symbol's PKK, trades in Canada and US. And what they've developed, and we were in this company some years ago, and the stock went from 30 cents to $14. And then they were creating basically an app of matching lenders and borrowers in China. Their sales went from, when we got involved, around 30 million to 110 million, and they were going to multiple hundreds of millions until COVID hit. COVID shut everything down, everything collapsed. Relationships obviously with China and the West deteriorated, and the shares got all the way down to 5 cents. And we had actually exited years ago, and now we've gotten back in. And what they've basically are using, they're using all the data that they would accumulate in analyzing borrowers and meeting lenders, and we would have all the data of all these private companies. So using AI, we have been able to mine the data in a sense that they're launching a number of indexes. And this is not in China. They trained the data in China, but it's going to be offered in Canada and the US to start, where you buy this data, and the data is about private companies that if you want to project out, you can actually tell how public companies in the same space are going to do on a weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis. So the data will give you superior investment decision possibilities, and they've modeled it all up and show that it is very, very robust. And if you look at the data companies that have sold over the last 2 years, they trade at massive valuations because it's a SaaS type model. So this is another company that I'm really excited about. I'm always interested when we get involved in companies, for the first time or the second time, but at the early stage. And that's why investors would invest in ThreeD, because they don't find these types of companies, and they don't find the valuations that we're going to be able to acquire interest in these companies. So this is another case in point.
Yeah, and as always, I'll pass that question off to the viewers as well. We'd love to know what you think about the company, ThreeD Capital's holdings, all in that comment section below. So perhaps in the future we can do an investor Q&A, and consider subscribing for news and catalysts and updates as they come down the wire. Of course, we'll bring them to you here. But on that note, as always, we look forward to catching you in the next one.